gone out. So it has flowed out. So cash flow is not really about how much you make. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It is about how much you keep after all your expenses, okay? And how much you use that money to grow more money. Do you know the process of growing more money? What are some of the things that people do to make more money? Yes?
Investing.
Good, investing. You had something to say?
Saving.
Saving. Who else?
Selling some items.
Exactly. So it's the same as investing. Basically, you're doing more business to make sure that your money brings in more money. So the reason why we focus on cash flow is because the money that you make is not supposed to be stunted. It's not supposed to be to stay in one place. It is money that is supposed to help you build more cash. And I want to give you one example. Two students. What's your name?
Blaze.
Beza.
Blaze.
Blaze.
Aline.
Aline. So Blaze and Aline, every one of you, let's say in the holiday program, you are doing a job that gives you 30,000 Rwandan francs, right? Now, what are some of the things that you'd like to spend your money on?
I like to buy
Airtime. You're going to buy airtime, huh?
buy clothes, buy some airtime, and invest in some save some money.
So Blaze is already an investor, you can hear. He already knows how to manage his cash flow. So Aline, what are some of the things that you would do if you are making that money during this holiday?
Okay, some money, like for saving, for buying some trips, for buying some snacks, and then transport.
Exactly. So you understand some of the things that you mentioned are things that are essential. They are things that we cannot do without. For example, transport. If you have to go to school or to the market or to the hospital, you need transport. Yeah. Clothes, you have to dress up. Whether it's in uniform, whether it's normal clothes, you still have to you need those. So those are basic needs. So when you're making money, there are things that are very basic that you need, that everybody needs, and there are things that you can do with or without, or you can have them in limited amounts. For example, airtime. You don't need 100,000 of airtime. Maybe 2,000 is enough, maybe 1,000 is enough. These days, MTN gives you, what do you call it, bundles, and so it depends on what you want to buy. But if you have taken that money of 30,000 and you have spent all of it on airtime and snacks, let's say, okay? So Aline has done everything and she has saved 5,000. Blaze has done some of the things that he wants to do, and he has maybe saved 10,000. Okay? Yeah. What do you understand from that? Who is a better person in terms of managing cash flow?
The one who saves.
The one who has saved more. Yes. And Blaze, if you saved 10,000, what would you do with that money? You have finished buying everything, you have done everything. What would you do with that money? What are some of the things that you do with that money?
Okay, I will save the money and put it in my bank account, wait for some investment. Then later, I'll invest that money in that thing I got.
Exactly. So what matters is that what you have kept after you have used the money that you have, the things that you have done, what you remain with is very, very important, because that's the one that is going to help you to maintain your cash flow. So you have now 10,000 to invest. Maybe you even have money to start with for the next term if you're going to buy some things. Or maybe there's a small business that you want to start, and 10,000 can start a business. So maybe you're going to start that with it. So what I'm trying to say here is that what matters is the net, the final amount that you remain with after that. So it means that every amount of money you make, or even if it's you've not maybe worked, somebody has given you 10,000, it is important that you think towards some of the things that you're going to do if you really want to save. And you have to learn how to start saving, or how to first making sure that your money keeps coming in and out, not necessarily by starting to work, but even any money. You could meet or win a lottery, or maybe get funding, or somebody gives you 50,000 because maybe you've become one of the best in the class. So that amount of money, you have to think, what am I going to do with it? What are some of the things that I need to do? And how can I start actually with this amount of money to build on my future? So cash flow is very, very important for anybody who has any amount of money. Okay? So I wanted to take you through what really the cash flow is, what the definition is. I've given you an example, but it's important that you understand some of the practical things around it. So cash flow is the movement of money in and out over a period of time. The period could be 1 week, it could be 1 month, it could be 1 year, it could be 10 years. And the cash flow, if you're going to be, you're having a health cash flow, it's important that it's actually positive cash flow, right? Because if it becomes negative, that means then you're in negatives. You do not have cash. So you have to make sure that the cash that you have, it's helping you to produce more money, or it's you're saving or you're investing somewhere so that you keep investing. For business people, and when I say business, it doesn't mean the big supermarkets and the banks, and I mean even the small shops. Do you see the small businesses that take place on the streets, the kids who sell different small things, or the people that sell in small shops? Those people sometimes, they actually sometimes give themselves a salary so that they can maintain the money. It's not all the money, that's the profit that they make, that they actually take. Sometimes some of them decide to give themselves a salary so that they are considered as a staff, and so the money that remains, they are able to save or reinvest in their businesses. Another example that is related to the one I've just said, and I wanted you to look at it from here. So let's say you have an income of 30,000, like we were talking about, and maybe you're a teacher or you did a certain job, and you earned another 10,000, so you make 40,000, right? Then you have some expenses. Blaise likes airtime and clothes. So he gets airtime of 5,000, and maybe you buy school materials for another 5,000, okay? So you spend 10,000. Now, you have other expenses, and like I said, expenses are not all the same level. Paying school fees is very important. Clothing is very important. Food is very important. But maybe airtime, I can do without airtime once in a while. Snacks, I may not necessarily need a snack all the time. That is something that I can do once in a while. So you have to think through what is important to you to make sure that your money that you have is actually being used in the right way so that you're able to save at the end of the day. So let's say you have this and you have used 15,000. So your net, the net now is the money that you remain with after everything else, you've paid for everything else, all the things that we've talked about here, okay? So you save 15,000, which is exactly what we're discussing about. So what you do with the 15,000 really matters. And making sure that you actually remain with a certain amount of money after all these things really matters, okay? So it is important that when you get your money, you think through before you actually start spending. Because sometimes you just go in the shop and before you know it, all the 30,000 is gone. Doesn't it happen? Yeah, exactly. So it is important that you prioritize the things that you're going to use in terms of cash. And have you heard of the capital markets?
Yes.
You've heard of the capital markets. So the Rwanda capital market is actually on a campaign to encourage people, all people, especially students, some of you who are still young. You know, some of us, the problem is that you've been working and then you remember to save when you're old. So the reason why we're having some of these classes is so that you understand these things at an early age. So by the time you actually get into the workforce, you already know how to manage your cash. And you don't even, many of you are probably not even going to wait to finish university to start working. You might get jobs after high school. So it is important that you understand some of these things, because in the next 15, 20 years, who knows, you'll be the ones having buildings around the city of Kigali or even after, because you have started understanding how to manage your cash flow from the early age. The types of cash flows that we have, we talked about that it's a movement in and out. So the in cash flow, sorry, I had, the inflow of cash, it could be anything. Anything can bring in money, as long as it is legal, not illegal. So don't engage in illegal businesses. So if, let's say, you're working and you get a salary, maybe you're a teacher or they've given you a gift, or so it could be any form of bringing in cash, as long as it is legal and it's something that is going to help you. Outflow means the things that you're going to use the money. So it is the airtime, it is the clothing, it is the school fees, it is investing. Anything that you're going to use, that means it is outflow. So there are two types of cash flows. It is the inflow and the outflow. And what matters most is that your inflow is continuous. Of course, the outflow will always be there. You cannot do without outflows or expenses, but you have to, how do you manage and how do you prioritize, right? Any questions at this point? Are you already managing your cash flow in the head? Yes. The money that you will have in your phone, and you're already seeing how you're going to manage it. Yeah. So we have positive and negative cash flows, which is what I was saying. So if your inflow is less than your outflow, then you're being negative. You're getting into negatives. So that means you have to make sure that always you have your priorities in terms of managing your cash flow. So if you're getting 40,000 and you're spending 45,000, you're already in the negative. So that means you're going to end up into borrowing. Have you heard of people who go to the bank, get loans, and fail to pay them? Yes. Yeah, that's most of the time. There are so many reasons why that happens, but also most of the time is that you have gone beyond your spending ability. So if let's say my salary is 200,000 and I spend 300,000 every month, that means I've gone beyond my priorities. I don't know what is good for me and what is not good for me. So which means I end up, either I come to Blaze and borrow and say, can you lend me 100,000, I'll pay you next month, or I go to the bank and say, please lend me 100,000. But because my salary is less, I can't be able to pay them. So I'm always in debt, you know, so that means at the end of the day, if you had a little bit of savings, you use it. If you have a loan at the bank, you can't pay it. If you have someone's loan that you have taken, you can't pay it, then you get into trouble. And you know how money gets people into trouble all the time. So, so it is important that you are able to invest and save out of the little that you make. I'm sure you have heard of people starting a business with even 10,000. You have heard of cooperatives or what we call Ibimina that have come up by people saving 100 francs. Every week, maybe they put in 100, or every day they put in 100 francs. And at the end of the day, somebody has so much savings at the end of the year. So that's because they've focused and they've decided this is what I can afford, and this is what I'm going to do to be able to save. But because they're prioritizing and looking ahead in the future, not just spending whatever they want. So really, those are the basics around cash flow. It is more to understand what are my priorities, how much do I make, what are my priorities, how much can I be able to save out of that, and how can I invest it in a very meaningful way. You know, what in Kinyarwanda we call kubyaza umusaruro. So, and by the way, if I'm too fast, let me know, so that I can slow down. What's your name?
My name is...
No,
My name is Kwizera.
Kwizera. Yeah. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions so far?
No question.
No,
No.
no question for now. Okay, and I hope the students online are also following. So we continue with the cash flow basics. So why cash flow always comes first and why we keep talking about cash flow is because we need to be stable. There's need for stability. So what you plan to spend, let's say every day, every week, every month, every year, that's something that you need to plan ahead, right? You can't for let's say parents that have children, like you who go to school, it's important that they think ahead. Most of the time they're thinking the next term is going to start in September. Shall we have school fees? Will we have money to buy materials? Or maybe they're even thinking in the holidays, are we going to be able to feed our children? Are we going to be able to provide transport if they need to go anywhere? So those things, people think about them. And those are the basic needs of every human being. So which means that is something that stabilizes you or destabilizes you. Because if you don't have any money or any cash flow that is going to support you, then you start to think, how do I go about this? So that's one way. Another way is that why cash flow comes first is because we have a lot of emergencies as people. We could be seated here and one of us falls sick, God forbid. So if I fall sick right now and they have to rush me to the hospital and I did not have any money set aside, however little it is, that means getting medical access is going to be a problem. So the reason why we always have to think about how we manage our cash flow and how we actually have money kept after all our expenses, or at least saving, is because we have to think of emergencies, right? So we have to build a certain reserve or a certain saving on the side that can help us in the It could be medical, it could be school fees, it could be something, it could be this, it could be something. But if you don't have any amount of money saved on the side,
Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education.
So let's say you have made money, you're trying to manage your cash flow, you need a profit or you need to save some money. What are some of the things that you do? From the discussion we've had, you have an income, doesn't matter whether it's monthly or weekly, it could just be an income, but you want to save. And from the saving, what you save is actually the profit that you've made, right? But everything that you have taken out in terms of expenses, so you have taken out all the things that you need to do, and you have your profit, okay? So your profit is really the income that you have minus all the expenses.
Yes.
Okay, that's what gives you the profit. And then the cash flow now becomes the actual money that you have remained with, okay? That you're going to set aside, or that you're going to use for anything else that you have. So the other thing that you need to also understand is that sometimes you actually have made profits, but you don't have the cash. Do you know that is possible? So I could be having money, right? Let's say I'm a business person, and I have actually made good business. I have sold all this furniture and I have made money, you know, all these things, right? Yeah. But I have a team of staff that I need to pay, okay? And maybe I have a bank loan that I need to pay. So my business is doing well, yes. I got the profit, but all the profits go to pay debts. So at the end of the day, I don't have cash.
But you made profits.
But I made profit. So it's not always that profit is actually your cash flow. Your cash flow is the money that you actually have. Yes, that you have. Because if I have made the profit, but I find myself that all the profit has gone to paying taxes, paying maybe I never paid school fees for my kid in the last time and I have to go back and pay the debt. Maybe I borrowed some money. So all the profit that I made out of my business, I have actually cleared the debts. So I don't have the cash too. So I have not saved, I have not, so if I have an emergency, that means I'll still have an issue. So it is important that when, again, as a business person or as a human being generally, if you have money, that prioritization is very, very important, because it's the one that helps you to, when you make profit, do you actually have the cash, right? That you're going to keep. So yes, you have a question?
Yeah. My idea about saying the cash flow, about profit and the income, somehow, if you see, they are somehow complicated, because some people, it is their first time to understand the gross income, the profit. So if it can be, my suggestion is that maybe we can understand where that gross income comes from, what we take and how it is made, and give a definition about the gross income so everyone can understand well what is the gross income, and know how after making a gross income, how the profit is coming after.
Okay. And
understand where, like, that step will be more useful for us to understand how the cash flow is going.
Good question. So who understood gross income? Did you understand gross income?
Okay, by my side, I think gross income is the income that you get after removing the expense.
Who else? Yes.
Gross income, on my side, I can say it is an income that we get after getting all remove all the cost of goods that we sold. After sale, before removing the expense that we have in the business, that is the gross income that we have, before any expense have been removed.
Yes, actually, you're very right. So he asked the question and he knew the answer, but he wanted to make sure all of you understand the question. So gross income is the income that you get generally. Let's say today I'm teaching and they pay me, okay? And tomorrow I go somewhere and somebody asks me to do for them a document, they pay me. And another day I go somewhere and do something else, they pay me. So all that money is my gross income. Because the gross is the money that you have been given, but before you have used it at all.
Is the total money?
It's the total, exactly. It's the total amount of money, okay? So today, if somebody gives you a short job in the holiday to maybe do selling in the shop, and they pay at the end of the month, before you go to buy books, before you go to buy airtime, before that total amount that you've been given is the gross. Now, when you start spending it, you buy airtime, you buy clothes, you buy snacks, you use transport, the gross is reducing. So what you remain with after everything that you've done, you've done all the things that you wanted to do, that is the net.
The one you left with.
The one you're left with, the net. So the cash that you have, when you have taken out transport, you have taken out everything else that you wanted to do, that is the net that you have, okay? So the reason why I was explaining the difference between and you can call the net profit if you want, if you're doing a business. The reason why I was saying that sometimes you may make profit, but actually not have the cash, is because some people do business, but their expenses are more than the expenses they have. So it's not that the business is not doing well, they actually make the money, but then they end up paying more things. Or maybe they had a debt that they had to clear. So at the end of the day, even though it looks like your business is doing well on paper, and you can actually do you have any students studying accounting here? All of you study accounting?
Yes.
Okay. So you understand how, do you do any balance sheets and stuff in class? Okay.
Yes.
So sometimes you can actually have profit on the balance sheet, but actually in the bank there's no money because you have spent much of it. Okay. So so I hope you got the definition and the understanding. So the gross is all the total that you have, and once you start spending it and removing some of the expenses, then you remain with the net, which is usually now the cash that you have to now either save or invest or use for other things that might be emergency at some point. Okay? Yeah. So as we continue now looking at the cash flow basics, some of the key things that are very important in terms of managing your cash flow is to track your expenses. By tracking, I mean following up on expenses. Are you spending meaningfully? Are you spending just like that? Do you wake up, if you have some money, you just go to the city center or Chimirongo and just go to the market and buy things that you didn't plan? Or do you go to watch football and pay 500 francs all the time? So how do you manage your cash flow, and how do you follow up on your expenses? So that's why I was saying prioritizing. If you prioritize the expenses that you are going to have based on the amount of money that you're making or based on your income, this is what I'm calling tracking the expenses. And tracking expenses doesn't necessarily mean that you have a cash book at home, or it could be a piece of paper, it could be a small book, it could be something, but you take note. You say, I get paid 50,000 per month. What are the things that I need to do every month? Okay, I'll buy airtime of 1,000. I'll buy shoes for 5,000. Maybe I'll go to watch a football match, 500. Girls, what do you prefer to do? The boys like to watch football. Who likes to watch football among the girls? Girls likes to. What do you do? If you had 30,000, what would you do in the entertainment space?
Entertainment? For attending some party.
You would attend a party. So let's say you spend maybe 3,000 to attend a party, right? So you've noted down your expenses, and you've decided out of my 50,000, I'm going to use 30,000. And then after 30,000, I have saved, 20,000, and that's tracking your expenses. Okay. So next month there might be other different. Maybe you attend a party this month, but next month you will not attend a party. So it means there are other things that you do next month, and you continuously track the things. There are those that are constant. There are things that we all need on a regular basis, and those are different for different people, but they are some of the things basic. Then there are other things that will be different for you, between you guys, even myself. There will be other things that we need both at different levels. So tracking your expenses helps you to know how much you're spending, how you're spending it, and whether you're actually spending it on the right things, and how much you're saving. So you keep tracking your savings. So you have to keep the records of the money that you earn. Today, technology is all over the place, so some people keep it in their phones, some people keep it in their computers. Me, I like to write down my things, so I usually I'm in analog.
Yeah.
I like
Traditional way.
the traditional way, exactly, because at least I can go back to my notebook and be like, okay, here is. So yeah, and then also like I was explaining, categorize the basics, which are the fixed ones, and then the variables. The variables are those ones that change, that we don't need all the time. But the fixed. So yes, please.
Which the strategy you can use for avoiding that expense more than the movement of more than the cash in.
Mm-hmm.
Which
What are some of the strategies? That's a good question. So, like I said, prioritize your needs. There are needs that are very important to all human beings, like I said. So food is important, but let's say you don't buy food at home. Maybe your parents buy food, or your guardian buys food. But maybe you want to buy yourself a nice shoes. Maybe you want to buy yourself nice clothes, or you want to go to a party. Anybody else wants maybe to go to a football match and all that. So prioritizing, knowing exactly what are the key needs is important. Okay? So if it's maybe a 21-year-old who has a job and he has decided he's going to rent his house, he's going to be staying alone, paying house rent is important to that person. Buying food is important to that person, right? But maybe going to the party is not very important, because the amount of money that they have, they can't afford to be going to the party all the time. Maybe they'll go once a year. So one of the strategies to really understand what are the basic needs that you need. You first deal with those. Then the other needs that are there that you can do without, right? You don't need 50,000 airtime in your phone all the time, do you?
No.
You don't. Maybe you just need 1,000, use WhatsApp, make calls once in a while. So for you, 1,000 may even take you 2 weeks, right? When somebody else just puts 50,000 on the phone and maybe they don't even call. So that's already wasting the money. You use exactly how much you need to use. So you really, really have to prioritize. That's number one. Number two, the tracking of income and your spending is important, because once you don't track, once you don't know what you're spending on, or once you don't plan on what you're going to spend on, then you just spend. You could walk into Chimirongo markets and you see a nice bag, you buy it. You see a nice shoe, you buy it. You see, before you know it, by the time you're going back home, 50,000 is finished, right? And maybe the next 2 weeks, you're actually going to need transport to go visit an auntie in Chibungo. What will happen? You start begging,
Yes.
asking your friends or your parents or whatever. So it is important that you actually track and say, this is exactly what I'm going to use. That's number two. Number three, always aim at saving a little, whatever it is. It could be 100 francs, could be 500, but out of the money that you have, always aim at saving some. Going back to the other emergencies we're talking about. An emergency can come up, anything can happen. So what have you done to make sure that for every income that you get, there's some money that you have actually kept on the side? So those are things that you have to think through, think ahead, plan. Don't just go with your money. And I know people who go to the bank and carry out all the money and go shopping and buy new things and everything. So then after a month, the money ends actually before the month ends.
Nothing.
Eh?
They'll be left with nothing.
Exactly, you're left with nothing. So even the income that you've made is finished before you actually get to the next month. So the strategies are really to prioritize, put your things in order and say, the first 3 things that I'm going to do with the money is A, B, C, D, and they must be things that are necessary. Then you go to the ones that are really, really not necessary, that you can do or do without once in a while. Prioritize those. Then say, after this, I'm also saving this. So make it a target to actually save. Okay?
Yes.
Saving is a difficult thing for many people, but it's actually doable. And when you save, what are you saving for? Are you investing? Are you keeping it on the side so that you can use it for an emergency at some point? So there has also to be a plan of why are you saving. Okay?
Yes.
Anybody else has another point in terms of strategies? Anybody can think of something else?
Point.
Yeah, she asked about some of the strategies.
So the point I can give on my side about this lesson that we get, I see the most important thing that we have to do in our daily life when we use money or when after getting the income. Before spending our money, we have to make a plan before spending money.
Yes.
So it means in our daily life, every money that we have, if we want to spend it, we need to make a budget. So
Exactly.
the budget will help us to manage it and protect us from misuse of money and the overuse of money, so that we cannot get into the negative cash flow. So we will be stay in the positive side of the cash flow. So
Okay.
that was my point.
That's actually a very good point. And you have brought up something. In our next lesson, we are actually going to have it's going to be focusing on the budgets. And that's very important because it's one of the things that is very key when it comes to really planning for the money that we have. And that's what I was saying, when you prioritize, budgeting is actually making sure that you're prioritizing. So, and as we continue the lesson, yeah, so I was talking about categorizing, which is a good point that you brought out that has to do with budget, which we're going to look at in the Thursday session. But that also gives us the guideline around how do you categorize and how do you bring out your priorities. Screen is hanging. So moving on to the next. So this is a more breakdown of what, ensuring that you know what your priorities are in a broken down way. So again, going back to your question, what is the income? How do you save? What are investments and expenses? So we already talked about the monthly income. You know, what do you earn? It could be a weekly income, it could be a monthly. And so what I was trying to explain is this. So the needs, what are your needs? When you, yeah.
Rent, eating,
Exactly. Exactly. So eating, there's sleeping, there's clothing, there's medical health. Those are some of the needs that all of us as human beings need. So those are key. Those are essential. They are very, very important for you as you budget, as you manage your cash. These are very important. Now, there's what we call wants. What I want. Maybe I want, yes.
Wants are things that we need after satisfying the needs, like entertainment, shopping. That is
Good. That's a good answer. So those come next. They are not. You can do without them once in a while. Okay. Savings. So, like I mentioned, it has to be a goal. You have to be intentional. You have to plan to make sure that you save. So savings, they either go into an emergency fund, which you have set aside to deal with emergencies that might come up, or it is to invest. Again, when you invest, of course, it brings more cash. So that is savings. Investments, I think we all understand. Investments is, starting anything small that will help you to build more cash. Yeah, in the future, it could be investing in a cooperative. It could be investing in a business. It could be saving in the bank. Sometimes when banks have saving accounts where they actually generate for you interest every year.
Yes.
So yeah, they give you no dividends if you're a shareholder, but if you're just saving into the bank, you get interest. Exactly. So the different ways of saving are many, and as long as you have set aside an amount of money to actually save, that is very important. So and to your point, this is where the main component comes in. So it means you have to budget, and budgeting helps you to tell your money where to go. So budgeting is really taking control of your money. I'm going to buy a phone. this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to, so you allocate. But you remember you allocate according to the money that you have. And according again to the needs and wants that we have. So, any questions so far?
So about the fixed, as you see, what I'm trying to get that, see the fixed the expense may be when needs.
Yes.
Because needs
Yes.
are what you can live without. So
Actually.
those are the expense that we never change in our budget.
Yes.
So in the I get that the variable expense can be the ones because sometimes they change, and variable is something that change, don't remain constant.
Yes.
So it means the ones that we have in our daily life, it will be like a variable expense.
Very true. Yes, very true. It's just different words. But variable means something that keeps changing. So you don't need it all the time. But when it's fixed or it's a need, it means it must be, yeah. Of course, sometimes when you look at our daily lives, sometimes we fail to get even the basic needs. Some people go without food, some people go without clothing, we fail to get medical health, but they're still needs. I may not be able to afford them, but those are the basic needs. Even when we are talking and planning, and even when the government of Rwanda is planning for citizens, the most important things they're looking at, how are people going to survive? How are people going to get medical health? Are they going to get housing? So those are the main things. Those are the critical needs that every human being on earth should be able to get. So those are the ones that are fixed, yeah, that we can't do without. Yeah. The importance of cash flow in real life or in business, we have mentioned some of these things, meeting our obligations or meeting our needs that we are talking about. So the everyday needs, some of them are variable, others are fixed. But yeah, basically having a cash flow helps us to meet our daily needs and our daily requirements. If you can't, of course, these, if your cash flow is, like we mentioned, is more than the inflow, then you can't pay them off. You can't meet some of your basic needs. It helps us get, of course, emergency readiness. So positive cash flow builds, an emergency fund that will help us to deal with some issues that we may face. It could be around, surprises around not having money, like I mentioned, medical costs. It could be a trip that you want to do. So how do you manage it without borrowing, without getting into debt? It is also an opportunity to grow. So, and growth doesn't mean like physical growing, doesn't mean me moving from 30 years to 40 years or 40 to 50. It means you as a human being, how do you move from your student today, tomorrow you become a business person, you start maybe with a small shop, you move from a small shop, you go to a supermarket, from a supermarket you open a whole warehouse. So that is growing in business. So saving and making sure that your cash flow is always positive, or that you're actually keeping aside money that will support you in growing, it means you're having spare cash to do other things, okay? Invest in other businesses, start other projects. You've seen many of the people that have business, sometimes they start with this one, tomorrow they open kenkairi, another time they open a restaurant, another time. So that person is actually growing. Keeps growing from one business to another. And when you're growing a business or any other thing that you're growing, even the mindset is growing.
Yes.
You're learning more, and you can advise more. You're expanding, and you can support more of your families, more of your friends. So that growth is as a result of making sure that you manage your cash flow. Otherwise, if you spend it the way it comes, even the other business actually fails, and then you close and there's nothing that you have.
Nothing left.
Nothing left.
Yes.
Okay. So any questions? Okay. So I think we're going to take a short break now, and then we come back for the next lesson. Okay?
Yes.
See you in a few minutes.
YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student,
This annual national dialogue will serve as a platform to reflect our progress, identify challenges, and prioritize actions to improve inclusive education. Together, we will remain steadfast in our mission to ensure education for all, leaving no one behind.
Together, we can ensure teachers are supported and equipped to fully have inclusive classrooms, empowered to educate the decision makers and leaders of our shared tomorrow.
It is a privilege to join you today for this two-day national dialogue to engage in meaningful discussions on the critical topics of inclusive and special needs in education. As we deliberate, let us remember that inclusion benefits everyone. When we embrace diversity, we enrich our education system and society. By supporting learners with disability, we'll cultivate compassion, resilience, and innovation in our classroom and communities. Let us use this dialogue as a platform to listen, share experiences, and co-create solutions. Together, we can build an education system that truly embodies our values of equity, dignity, and excellence. Thank you, and I look forward to a productive discussion ahead.
Rwanda Basic Education Board Multimedia Production Studio is on a mission to transform education through technology. With a vision to become a leading multimedia production hub, the studio is dedicated to enhancing digital learning, fostering innovative educational content, and ensuring accessible, high-quality education for all.
It will also enable teachers to improve themselves and support each other's growth. We aim to bring this program to all schools.
To achieve this, the studio focuses on developing high-quality multimedia learning materials, supporting cost-effective digitization, improving capacity, and ensuring learning continuity. By expanding broadcast channels and streamlining production, it aims to make education more efficient and widely available. The studio adds significant value by reducing costs, increasing in-house production capacity, and ensuring rapid content delivery through social media, television, and radio. From multimedia learning materials and live science experiments to edutainment programs and digital textbooks, the studio embraces a diverse range of content. Its delivery methods include pre-recorded and live-streamed programs, talk shows, documentaries, and sign language videos, ensuring inclusivity and engagement for all learners. Through innovation and technology, the Rwanda Basic Education Board is shaping the future of education, making learning more dynamic, interactive, and accessible. By expanding broadcast channels and streamlining production, it aims to make education more efficient and widely available. The studio adds significant value by reducing costs, increasing in-house production capacity, and ensuring rapid content delivery through social media, television, and radio. From multimedia learning materials and live science experiments to edutainment programs and digital textbooks, the studio embraces a diverse range of content. Its delivery methods include pre-recorded and live-streamed programs, talk shows, documentaries, and sign language videos, ensuring inclusivity and engagement for all learners. Through innovation and technology, the Rwanda Basic Education
Honorable guests, it's my deep conviction that solid early education will become all the more vital as time advances. Achieving sustainable development will require our children and their own to wield every available ounce of intellectual, social and emotional intelligence to ensure that education and growth actually translate into progress for all. early education will become all the more vital as time advances. Achieving sustainable development will require our children and their own to wield every available ounce of intellectual, social and emotional intelligence to ensure that education and growth actually translate into progress for all. Honorable guests, it's my deep conviction that solid early education will become all the more vital as time advances. Achieving sustainable development will require our children and their own to wield every available ounce of intellectual, social and emotional intelligence to ensure that education and growth actually translate into progress for all.
Parent or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you. Don't miss out. New education, bright future. It's all happening this Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Rwanda Basic Education Board YouTube channel, live streaming, and you are free to ask questions through comment. Stay tuned, stay informed. Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, this session will guide you through the changes and what they mean for you.
Back from your break. Did you enjoy? Did you have a discussion around what you're learning? buy more stock or more materials to sell, or you can't pay your staff, your workers. So often we find that then the poor cash flow and how you've been able to manage the cash flow leads to either failure in business or not being able to deal with the issues or the ones that you have. And when it comes to specific businesses or cash flow management in actually business, when you manage your cash flow well, then you have operational stability. Okay? Operational stability means that you're able to pay your rent, you can be able to pay your workers, you can be able to go and buy more materials to sell, you can increase your clients, the number of your clients that you manage, but without it, then the business again fails. Now, when you also manage your cash flow, there's something that is very important, and this has to do with trust in businesses, or even trust between people. Okay? So let's say I'm running a business, and I borrow money from you to put more into my business, and I don't really pay back the money in the way you wanted me to pay. Maybe I said I'm going to pay in 1 week, but I end up spending 2 months without paying you. What happens?
It becomes a problem.
It becomes a problem. You stop trusting me as your friend or as your family member. So I become somebody who... Yes, I become a long-term debtor. Maybe not even only to you, maybe there are even others. Okay? But when you manage your cash flow, then your borrowing is less. It is limited or it's not there. And that helps to build trust among the people that you're working with, among your suppliers. If somebody is supplying me maybe laptops that I'm selling, and when they supply, I pay them. But when I delay to pay them, then there's no trust. And that means next in the future, they're not able to supply me with what I want. So my reputation is spoiled. Okay? So you can't make good deals with other people, you can't probably get discounts, or you can't get better offers from your suppliers. So it is important that when you manage your cash flow, you're thinking of all those things. You're not just thinking to save money, to keep in the bank, to save money, to invest, but you're also thinking, how do I build relationships? How do I build my reputation as a person or as a business? Because you need to be able to be in position to pay your rent. You've seen people who fail to pay rent and they kick them out of their businesses or their houses. So that's already a negative thing. Investment and expansion. So you're able again to invest, you're able to expand. That is the growth that we talked about previously. So when you have enough money, which is also called liquidity, you're allowed to grow and you buy more. So let's say you're dealing with maize, for example, or you're supplying beans. So you have cash to invest more, buy more, supply more, and increase your client base. But the other important thing also, even though we look at borrowing sometimes as something that is not that sometimes gets into our cash flow and eats it, sometimes you actually need the credit, right? Because you might want to expand your business and maybe you want to borrow from the bank or borrow from a friend. It is important that you plan ahead to say, if I borrow, how will I pay? But also remember, the person you're borrowing from or the bank that you're borrowing from or any other person that you're borrowing from is looking at how are you able to pay back. So your ability to access credit, which is what we're talking about here, access to credit. So they look at you as a person who's trustworthy, who has a reputation, who has been doing business very well, and therefore they can lend you. But if you do not have that ability to get credit, it means your cash flow is suffering. They are looking at your business, how it is going closer, and how it is growing, and they are saying, this person, we cannot give them credit.
There is some condition there.
Sorry?
There is some condition there before they borrowed the money.
Yes. So one of the conditions they look at is, are you able to pay back? Yeah. If I'm not able to pay back, they don't give me the credit. So that means I have to do what I have to do, work on my, do my best to make sure that my cash flow is actually positive, so that I continuously pay the credit that I get. But the ability actually to even access credit, it is a sign that you're managing your cash flow well. Okay, because then you're going to use it. You're going to use the credit to grow your business or to invest or to start something else, but then you need to show that you're actually able to pay. Okay, is that clear? So you need to go to get your debt when you are comfortable and you're sure. And I'm sure you've heard about the banks where they look at so many things. That's why sometimes for people who want big loans, they'll ask you to give your house as collateral, or they ask you to give your car or something, because if they see that you're not able to pay, then they will sell the house or the car. So it is important that you're able to deal with these things in terms of managing your cash flow. Borrowing is not bad, but you need to borrow with a purpose, not to borrow to go and buy clothes.
But I have a question.
Yes.
What if you're borrowing for the first time? Why do they look at for your first time?
So it depends on what you're borrowing for. Sometimes, let's say you're borrowing for business, to go and start a business. They'll look at your business plan, and they'll say, okay, we see that this business is able to make money. It will make money. So they assess. After doing assessment, let's say you have nothing else, like you're saying, you're borrowing for the first time.
Yes.
They'll look at how the business is going to work, how it's likely to. They do market assessments to see, is this something that is going to work on the market? Is it going to make money? They do benchmarking. Benchmarking means we're going to look elsewhere. Has this worked before? Is it something that we can actually trust?
What's the name? Benchmarking.
So benchmarking means if maybe I want to start a factory, and maybe somewhere in Tanzania this factory has worked, or maybe in Chibungo somebody else started the factory. What the bank will do is they will go there to see, did Blaze's factory work? Is it making money? Is it making good business? So which means if it is doing that, that means even this one can work. So there's already an experience. Somebody has done it before. We are learning from them. So by the bank or by the person who is going to lend you money looking at that, they are making sure that this has been done before, or it actually shows that it can bring in money and be able to pay back the bank. So they give you money based on the business plan, but they give you money that they also feel that they can recover, okay? Because remember, when you have a business plan, and let's say it's the first time, maybe there are assets that you're going to buy. Maybe you're going to buy machines, maybe you're going to buy a house, or maybe you're going to buy something. So those are assets that if the business fails, the bank is able to sell them off and pay themselves back, okay? So they always look at the business plan. What are you looking at investing? Who are your target market? Is this a business that is needed on the market? So they look at a lot of things, and they give you money based on the business that you're proposing. Yes. Yeah. In case you don't have anything else to give.
Question.
Yes.
Is it possible that a company can have positive flow and still have financial trouble?
Yes and no. Yes, because when you have a positive cash flow, you may want to invest more, right? So I might have, if you don't plan well, I could have a good cash flow today, and because I'm seeing the cash flow coming in, I get excited and not plan well and not budget well, and then I say, I'm going to open another. If let's say I had a school, and it's coming well and there's good cash flow, without planning and without budgeting and without prioritizing, I rush and open another school. So before I know it, the cash flow from here, I've taken it to invest in another school, which is fine. But then if I have not planned well to say, okay, in the next 5 years, where would this school be and where would that school be and how much money do I need for both schools? I just take the money and go and open another school. Then I'm likely to get in trouble because I did not plan ahead. I did not budget. I did not prioritize. So that is likely to happen. But if you plan very well, and everything is always budgeted, and you have your priorities, and you're saying, this is what I'm going to do in this year, in the next year, or this month, and next month, then you don't get in trouble. So usually the people that have good cash flow, or there's actually cash flow, they've made profits, they have good money, if they don't plan and they don't budget and they don't prioritize, then the businesses suffer. Yeah. So it's always important that whatever money you have, you always plan. Otherwise, sometimes that's why you find somebody makes 1 million francs, and they get excited. They're like, I've become rich. I go and I buy a very nice car. Okay? So before I know it, after the car, I want to do a trip. So I make a trip, I buy an air ticket, I go somewhere. Have I done anything with that money? I've just enjoyed it and that's it. If that car has an accident, then I go back to borrowing to repair the car. So I never really planned what I'm going to use that money for. I just got it and got excited and did what I thought was exciting. But you have to plan for whatever money comes in. If it is increasing your business, you have to say, okay, I got this, what can I do in the next 5 years that will help me to actually grow even further? Not just taking money and even investment needs planning. You don't just take money and say, okay, now I have money, let me go and set up a market. You don't know whether that market people will come. You don't know if what you're selling, people want it. You don't know the pricing. So you need to always plan and think ahead and say, where am I going to, why am I doing this business? Is it needed? Where will it be located? How many people will I need to employ? All those things, so that you first understand how much it will take you or it will cost you to actually set up that business, and how much is it going to bring into your business. Okay? Any questions? Yes. I like this class. You're very interesting, engaging. I think you're going to be business people. You sure? Or you already are doing business? Are you sure you're not doing business already?
We try.
This money cash flow thing is exciting to you.
Okay. Is it possible at my level for going to the bank and take the loan for doing something, but I have no asset for the paying back that loan after? Is it possible I can go and borrow the money at my level?
How old are you in the first place? Do you have an ID? You haven't gotten an ID? No, you can't get a loan. Okay,
what if I get it?
So let's say that you're 18 and above, for example. So there are different levels of getting loans and getting and borrowing. Okay? People borrow from banks. People borrow from friends. People borrow from families. People borrow from cooperatives, and any other, Ibimina and all these other things that have money. Now, obviously, remember, this is money that you're going to have to pay back. So the people that are giving you money have to be extra careful. So remember, even them, they are managing their cash flow. It's not only who's managing your cash flow. If you're coming to borrow from me, let's say, I'm also managing my cash flow. So I'm saying, if I give Aline 10,000, what is she going to do that she'll be able to pay me back? Okay? So one of the things I could do is I'll just trust you and say, I know she's a very good girl, she has gone to school, she understands how to make money or even do a business. I trust that what she's trying to do will make money, because I'm also thinking like the bank. I'm saying, yeah, I see if she goes to sell school materials, in September everybody will be looking for school materials. So she's likely to get money. So I think like that, okay? And then I lend you money. But if you go to the bank asks you for so many things, because for them they're a big establishment, they're a big entity. And remember, the money that the bank has is not their money. It is our money. It is your money, it's my money, it's all these people's money. So the risk of putting their money into someone when they're seeing that there's nothing really tangible is very, very high. But it depends on the amount of money that you're looking for. So let's say you go with a small business plan of, let's say, 50,000 or 100,000. And they look at you, maybe look at your home, your parents, or your guardians. They will ask you to probably bring somebody to sign off for you. to say, okay, can you guarantee that when Aline starts the business, she will pay? If she doesn't pay, you will help her to pay. So they usually take such measures to reduce the risk. They might not give you the money right away. They might not even refuse to give it to you. They might give it to you, but they will put extra caution or extra measures to make sure that that money is recovered. So they'll probably ask you, or yeah, who are your parents? Your parents will be guardians, or maybe your sister or brother can be a guardian, or your auntie who has a business, something. So they'll look for something that can guarantee that you'll bring back the money. That's number one. Number two, sometimes they put mechanisms. So let's say I get 100,000 because I'm going to start a small shop. They will constantly monitor the shop, okay? So they don't give you money which is going to be more than the value of the business or the value of whatever you're doing. Because if you start to fail to do the business, they should be able to come and sell off the things that you're selling and recover their money. Okay? So they might give you the money after they have done their research, after that they have seen that all the risks have been considered. But they'll also give you money. They'll not give you $1 million. Let's say, if you're looking for $1 million, they'll probably give you like half of it, 500,000. Because they're saying that what you're going to do.
What if you sell?
What if?
What if you sell?
You sell?
Yeah.
Sell what?
Like, you said that I'm gonna sell the items before the bank comes.
Oh, so you're trying to be a crook now. You're trying to be
I'm just asking.
That's interesting. No, actually people do that. People do that. They get the loan from the bank and they disappear. So you see now, and he brings out actually a very good point. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah, so you go to the bank, you ask them for a loan of 100,000 and you just go. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
That happens actually in the banks very often.
What happened next?
So the bank loses. So here is so that's the risk of borrowing, and that's why anybody who is lending, whether it's an individual or a bank, they always make sure that they minimize the risk as much as possible, because they know that such people are there. I will come, even with a good business plan. I present it. The management of the bank likes it, and they give me. Some people have taken millions and millions out of banks. They disappear, or they start the project. They are given the money. If let's say it's building, it's a house, they start building, but they use the money for other things instead of actually building. So they realize that the project is not going to end, and they disappear. Yeah. So that happens actually most of the time with banks. So that's why banks are very strict when it comes to giving loans, because they know that those are risks that they change. So when the person disappears, what happens? The bank is the one that pays the money. So they lose. So that's why they become very, very strict. Even people who lend, individuals and other people, maybe you've had sometimes when it's your friend or a family member who wants to borrow money, maybe it's like 10 million. You look around and you say, okay, what do you have? Do you have land? They take the land papers. They keep them until you pay back. Or if they have a car, they take the car. So there's always something that is given to make sure that the person is minimizing the risk of losing their money. So that's why with banks, that's why they're very strict. If you're a business person, you will give them maybe your business license. They will keep it until, or they will ask you to give them land. If somebody who has a salary, they will take your salary every month. They will deduct some amount of money. So that's the reason. Those are some of the reasons why, yes.
What makes Chamunara happen?
Exactly that. So what makes Chamunara happens is, so let's say I've gone to the bank and I've asked for 10 million. So for somebody who is looking for 10 million, they ask you extra things. You know, it's not the same as somebody who's asking for 100,000. So I'll be required to give maybe land or a guarantee, a certain guarantee. What you've had calling in what?
Your asset.
Your asset. Any asset that you have that is valuable. So they will take it and keep it until you have paid the loan. So when you fail to pay, that's when they come to Kora Chamunara. They come to sell off. Because remember, they own that. So and actually the process is, when you're getting a loan, you go through RDB, you declare the asset that you have, and the bank takes it over. until you have finished paying the loan. So when you fail to pay the loan, that's how they come and sell off your house, sell off your cars, sell off your land, any assets.
If you refuse to pay, they come and
yes,
take that asset.
yes. So for them, they come and sell it. And it's what you are saying, Chamunara. So what happens is that if the bank has, let's say, 5 people who took loans and they are failed to pay back, and they have their pieces of land and houses and all that, they put them out on the market. They call for people to come and buy them. So what the bank wants is really to just recover their money. So if it's a house that was maybe valued at 100 million, and they come and buy it at 50 million, as long as the bank has gotten their money, that's it. So that's what happens actually. So they sell off the property that you gave them, the assets that you gave them, and they pay themselves back.
So they take the thing that is valued more than the actual one?
Yes, usually they take something that is more value.
What is more value?
Or equal to.
Equal to the
loan or more, yes.
Okay.
What can happen if they find that that asset of that person is less than the amount they need?
Again, the bank loses. so the actually, mostly in Chamunara's, like you were saying, mostly in Chamunara's, sometimes banks lose. Because if a house is, of course the bank will always try to put it at a value where they are able to get back their money, but sometimes they fail to get somebody to buy it. So if, let's say, they had taken my house, and my house maybe was an asset that has a value of 50 million, and they say this house is worth 50 million, but there's nobody to buy it at 50 million. So somebody comes and gives them 30 million. They'll just take the 30 million and be happy. That's their loss. that's their loss. Because when people know that it's Chamunara, they also know that it's a house that already has problems with loans and all that. So people will always offer the least years less. And so the bank will be, so banks actually, or lenders, institutions that lend money, they lose in so many ways. But again, even them, it has become much, much harder to get loans from them because they've seen that they lose a lot, so they have become strict, more strict in terms of how they give loans. Yeah. I like your questions.
Thank you.
You guys, I think are you sure nobody has a business here? I know you're doing a business. Why are you managing?
We are still planning.
You're still planning. That's good. That's very good. Now that you're thinking like this, I'm sure you're going to. But don't fear to borrow. Borrowing is not bad. But borrow with caution. Borrow with.
Very risky.
It is risky. It is risky. So you need to be able to borrow when you have reached a certain level where you actually have assets where you're able to. Yes.
Let me ask. So can you borrow without having an asset or something in collateral in Guate? Can you borrow the money without having Guate?
Yes, you can borrow without having Guate, without having collateral, but it will be limited. You not get it depends on how much money you want. There's an amount of money that you can borrow that does not require Ngwate. But there's money that definitely will require Ngwate. So it depends on which institution you have gone to, how much money you want, and what you want. Okay, what you want to use it for maybe may not be important. For example, now I can give you an example. The banks that we have today, the Beka, I&M, Equity, all these banks that we have, they have reached a level where now they give people with salaries, people who are working like us, they can give us 50 million without Ngwate, without collateral.
Why?
So, because they know that the first requirement is that your salary must go through their bank. So that's already, even though we don't call it Ngwate per se, like giving a house and all that, but even your salary is already Ngwate. So they look at your contract.
Yes.
Once they have looked at your contract, they look at how much you earn. Once you're able to pay off that every month, if you're able to pay a certain amount of money every month, they can give you that money. So the salary becomes Ngwate. But remember, an employee is an employee. I could lose my job tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's why they have to look at your contract. Is it a 1-year contract? Is it a 10 years? Is it indefinite? Is it a contract that doesn't end anytime? But still, even that has a risk, because even if I have a contract that doesn't end anytime, tomorrow I could make a mistake and I get fired from work. Today's session. So in our next session on Thursday, we are going to look at budgets. So most people are looking at having budgets. We are going to look at budgeting. We'll look at budgeting templates, planners, and then why do we even have to budget? You know, not necessarily we as people, but also as a country. You know, the government has a budget every year. You know that. So yeah, why do they have to budget? Why is it important for us to budget as people, as organizations, and as a country? The importance of that. So those are some of the things that we are going to look at next. And unless you have any other questions, I'd like to close today's session. And thank you very much for being very interactive. Abanyeshuri beza cyane. Nibaza ko no mu ishuri bya byose nimwe mutsinda. Abi, simwe mutsinda buriya. No. Okay. So thank you very much, and thank you for being good students and very interactive, and thank you to the students that were online as well. They asked a lot of questions and they were very interactive. So I'm glad this was a very interesting class. So looking forward to the next one, and I hope you are looking forward to enjoying the next one as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for a good day. Yeah.
Education updates. Your future begins now. This Tuesday, Rwanda Basic Education Board is bringing you the latest updates on learning and career pathways in secondary education. Want to know how the new subjects and learning options are shaping students' futures? Whether you're a student,